Okay, so yesterday's factoring, we did 3 styles. So do we know what the names of the styles were that we did? We did simple trinomials. We did a difference of squares. And we did a GCF, a greatest common factor. And then what was the 4th one, but we did not do it yesterday, but complex trinomials. So we're going to get to that one today. Okay, so the first thing is you got to recognize what type it is so you know what to do. So number 1, which one of these is it? Should be a simple. Okay, so give me 2 brackets. So what times what would make p squared? P times p. Now, what times what makes 48, but at the same time it has to add to 14? 6 times 8. So 6 times 8. And they're both going to be plus, because plus 48 plus 14. So your x-intercepts are -6, or not your x-intercepts. In this one, I guess it's your p-intercepts, but. Okay. Are we noticing that if we were to graph this on our calculator, what would happen? Right? Okay, we would be intersecting at -6 and -8. Number 2. What do we want to do with number 2? We could go into the complex. That would work, but there's a GCF in here. If there's ever a GCF, I'm going to do it. It will make it easier. Okay, so GCF, what, and what? I can take something out of all 3 things. I could divide them by 3. Okay, so now I'm going to say what's left. 3 times what is going to be the 3n squared? N squared. 3 times what is the -9n? It's -3n. 3 times what is the 6? 2. Okay, now that is a simple trinomial. Okay, so I'm going to break that simple down. So we're going to go n times n at the start to make the n squared. What times what makes 2? Don't have many options there. 2 times 1. Since it's a +2, they're both the same, but they got to make a -3. It's negative. So n would have to be a 2 or a 1. Okay, number 3. Which style of these 4 would it be? GCF. Okay, so there's 2 terms. What's the thing I could take out of them both? I could take a b out leaving me with a what and a what? You have the sheet, right? B times B. And then this would be B times 5. Okay, if I want each bracket to be 0, here B would be 0. Here B would be negative 5. Okay, number 4. So we have our styles. So I'm saying you have to recognize which style it is. So this one was the difference of squares style. Okay, I think I taught you yesterday that if you really wanted to think about it as a trinomial, you can. It just doesn't have a middle term, so a 0 in the middle. So when you do the trinomial, thinking n times n makes the n squared. So what is making the negative 64 and adding to nothing? So what multiplies to 64? Plus 8 and a minus 8. Okay? Multiplies to negative 64, but added to together, it's 0. Okay, some of these I'm going to let you tackle on your own. Let's do number 6 together. I'll let you do 5 on your own. Okay, number 6, I can't take anything out, right? There's nothing, there's no 3 I can take out. I can't take 3 out of 18, right? So this one is going to be the complex trinomial. So this is what we have not done. So let's talk about how to break down a FOIL. Okay, so 2 brackets make a FOIL system. Does that sound familiar? Foiling? Okay. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to start with a FLA, which means what is the first times the last number? So 3 times negative 21 makes negative 63. Now I'm going to think about all the ways to make 63. 1 times 63. 3 times 21. And 7 times 9, and I think that's it. That's how I can make a negative 63. Okay, out of those groups, is there any way I could combine something to add to negative 18? This. Okay, so where's the plus and where's the minus? Because I need a negative 63, so I need a plus 3 and a minus 21. Okay, so now I'm going to write down what are the ways I could make the F and what are the ways I could make the L. So I could do K times 3K. That's it. How could I make 21? 1 times 21 or 3 times 7? Okay, I'm going to look to puzzle stuff together. So what am I going to pair with what that produces a 3 and a 21? So I'm going to pick not this group. Actually, no, that would work. Hold on here. So I mean, they both work, 3 and 21. Okay, I was going to pick this other group. So they both work though, right? I was going to put that with that to make a 3. I was going to put that with that to make a 21. Okay, so let's set up our brackets here. Okay, so I'm going to go K and 3K. Okay, that is my first times my first. Okay, does that look familiar from grade 10? First times first makes that. This would be the outsides. This on the foil is the insides. Okay, we partnered a K, 1K with a 3. So on the outside, I have a K with a 3 to make a plus 3K. On the insides, I partnered the 3K with a 7 to make minus 21. Okay, and then the last times the last makes the negative 21. So do you see my foil? I got the first times the first to do that. I got the O and I to combine to that. And now I have the last making that. Okay? Are you asking a question?
Were you also able to GCF it out?
Well,
That's what I did.
oh yeah, 18 is divisible by 3. Yes. Before I was like, 18 is not divisible by 3. Yeah, it is. That's why. Oh, so then you ended up with a simple trinomial. That would have been way easier.
Way easier.
So K equals 7. Three times what would I need there? So 3K plus 3 has to be 0. So K would have to be a minus 3 divided by 3. So negative 1. That's why I was confused, Lauren, at the start, because this also would have worked, and that's why, because there's a GCF in there. Okay, let's try number 7 here. Okay, so this one is a complex trinomial. And the reason is because it's a something, x squared, not just a 1. Okay, so we're going to say, what is the FLA? What is the first times the last? So I need a plus 25. Which means I could do 1 and 25 or 5 times 5. Those are the options. Which option would make a negative 10? Negative 5, negative 5. Okay? Okay. Let's write our options down for the F and our options down for the L. So we could do an X and a 25X or a 5X, 5X. That's the only way you could possibly get that. And in the last, the only thing I can do is 1 times 1. So what would you put with what to make a negative 5 and a negative 5? You'd put that together and that together. Okay, now you set up your 2 brackets. Okay, in my brackets, I need to make the first unit. So I need to make the 25x squared, so that's the 5x times the 5x. The outsides and the insides need to make negative 10x together. I partnered that with a 1 and that with a 1. And over here we talked about them both being negative 5x and a negative 5x. So the O and the I together are making the negative 10x. And then your L is making a plus 1. Okay, if I want that to be 0, I'm going to add 1, and I'm going to divide by 5. And on your calculator, if you want to graph it, that's what it would look like. Just one x-intercept on that one. Right? Because this is also just the same. So there would only be one x-intercept.
Why are you making the 5x minus 1?
Why did I what?
Why did you make it?
Why did it equal 0?
No, like that. What's that? Like I thought it was just.
Like I want this bracket to equal 0, so I'm trying to figure out. You already know the shortcut. Is that what you're meaning? Like they're taking the opposite and dividing? Okay. I'm going to flip back to your notes here. So if somebody could tell me what page we were on here. We skipped these in our notes yesterday because I said, oh, these complex ones, we'll get back to them. What page does it say this one is on? We skipped them yesterday. Anybody find it? Okay, so we skipped them. They were complex. We were going to go back to them. Okay, so here we go. FLA. What does the first times the last make? So -6 is the first times the last. So my options are 1, 6, or a 2 and a 3. I need the combo in the middle to make a -1. I need the combo to make a -1. So we're picking the 2, 3, plus, minus. Okay? Got it? We're multiplying to -6. We're adding to -1. Okay, so let's think about how are we developing the first, how are we developing the last? So 1 times 2x, 1x times 2x, that's it. And we're doing a 1 times a 3. Okay, put circles around the partner that's going to make the 2. Box around the partners that are going to make a 3. Okay, so there's my 2x and my 3x.
What page is this?
Page 6.
Oh, you went here yesterday? I was here.
It's the one we had to photocopy because it got chucked.
Oh,
The-
the one that was.
We're working on a separate paper.
Look at my booklet, I can find it.
We should get that stapled back in your booklet so you know where it is. Found it? Okay, so my first times my first is x times a 2x. Okay, there we go. We got our first. On the foil, the O and the I. So we got our partners lined up. We put a 1x with a 3. And I'm going to put a minus in front of the 3 because I told myself that needed to be minus 3x. We partnered the 2x with a 1. And we wanted a plus 2x. So do you see my out is minus 3x and my in is plus 2x. So I got the -1. Last times last makes a -3. So my solution there is I want the x to be a -1. And here I would need a +3 divided by 2. Okay, and again, all I did was like a little bit of algebra in my head. If I want that to be 0, I'd have to add 3, and I'd have to divide by 2. Okay, one more complex. I'm going to flood. So -30. So I could do a 130 combo. 2 times 15. What else we got? We have a 3 times a 10. There's one more set. What else multiplies to 30? 5 times 6. Okay. Do any of those make 13? Ooh. Well, both of those could make a 13. Okay, but it's all about the signs. If I need a negative 30, what do you know? How do you multiply to be negative? Plus and a minus. Therefore, which one works to get negative 13? This one will not work to get negative 13 now, because they would both need to be negative, which does not make negative 30 anymore. Okay, so that's the only set that will work. This one was close, but it's not going to work. Okay, so let's make our combos here. I could use an x and a 15x. Or I could use a 3x, 5x. That's the ways that I could get the f. I could do a 1 times a 2 there. Can you find some partnerships that will produce a 2 and a 15? Okay, those are my partners, the 1 and 15 with the 1 and 2. 1 and 15 make the 15. The 1 and 2 make the 2. Okay, so let's see where to put everything in a bracket. First times first, so x times 15x. Boom, I got my 15x squared. The O and the I together. So we already know we need a negative 15x and a plus 2x. So we put the 1x with a 2 to make a plus 2x. And we partnered a 15x with a 1 to make negative 15x. Okay, so we're good there. And then does the last times the last make a negative 2? Yep. So my answer would be x equals positive 1 or negative 2, but you'd still have to divide by 15.